Projetor em tela cheia.
Beleza, galera, mais um vídeo aqui no canal, hoje trazendo para vocês o World Premiere, nome desse evento, estamos na tabela. Lembrando a todos vocês, hoje estamos no horário normal, que é a hora das 4 da tarde. Lembrando, daqui a pouco temos mais outro evento, aqui da PAX East 2026. Bora lá!
Play button, 2 of 3. Pause button. Video.
Hello, PAX! Wow, it is so incredible to see so many of you guys here today. My name is Erin Bauer, and I'm the marketing director for a teeny tiny indie game studio called Wayfinder Studios, based all the way across the world in Sweden. And we're only 10 developers, so there's way more than 10 of you in the crowd right now, so it's like, oh my gosh. I am absolutely thrilled to be here today. For me, coming to PAX is like a homecoming for me. I had my very first start in the games industry 14 years ago here at PAX East in the indie mega booth with a friend of mine who's a solo developer, so it really feels like coming home. I am thrilled today to announce our brand new game, Wyldheart. It's a co-op action RPG set in a rustic fantasy world. And I can't do this on my own, so I'm going to invite two very special guests on stage, two of the co-founders of Wayfinder Studios, Dennis Brownvall and Fia Turnberg.
Hello.
Hello, how are you guys feeling?
Overwhelmed.
There's way more people in the crowd than we thought there was going to be.
Yes.
So let's before we show the trailer, let's show a little bit about you guys. I'd love to tell the crowd a little bit about, you know, who you are and how long have you been in the games industry for, and what games have you worked on in the past?
So I'll go first, maybe. Hello, my name is Dennis. I had the privilege of working as the creative director for Star Wars Battlefront. A few of you played it. Yeah, that's cool. And so I've spent all my career up until this point working at DICE, making, like before Battlefront, it was Battlefield 3 and 4 and 1 and like all of those games. And so at the time when it was decided that we are no longer going to make Star Wars games, we decided to sort of set out on our own.
Nice. And Fia, what about you? You've been in the games industry for quite a while now. Can you just give us a quick rundown of all the different studios and games you've worked on?
Yeah, I've been in the games industry for over 20 years. I started on a really old game called Anarchy Online. Yeah. That was the second graphical MMO that was in the history of time, I think. And so the reason I started on that game was because I was an unemployed postgraduate who wasn't sure what to do with my life. And my guild members in AO, because I was a player of that game, encouraged me to apply for a job at Funcom. And I'm glad I did, and I have a lot to thank them for, because that put me into a job at Funcom making MMOs for many years. So yeah, I worked as a game director for that game. I worked on other MMOs as well. I worked on Age of Conan, some undisclosed projects. I worked on Star Stable Online, if anyone's into horses. Yeah. And then I ended up at EA DICE, and that's where I got to know Dennis and some other folks that we now work with.
Cool. And so you have a bit of an interesting story about the origins of this studio. Can you tell me, Dennis, a little bit about some of those early conversations at DICE that led to, hey, let's make our own studio?
Sure. So like you work a lot of long hours making those big games, and many of us then, of course, played a lot of D&D in the break rooms, and far too many hours playing Warhammer Fantasy Battles, and like as we were playing that, like we always kind of like chatted about like if we weren't making these shooters, what would we make? And to a person, all of us were like RPGs. That's the thing that we grew up with. That's the stuff that we love. Many of us played like so many hours of Baldur's Gate 1 and 2, a lot of the Elder Scrolls games, obviously. I named one of my kids Tamriel because like I really like that game. and obviously World of Warcraft, in particular Classic, and or like early World of Warcraft. And so as we were ramping down Star Wars, we all kind of like, maybe this is the time when we sort of start our own thing. We're fully independent, no publisher. We're bootstrapping it, doing it all on our own. And so, yeah, we've been working at it for about 4 years now. And so it's about time that we start showing it off, I think.
Absolutely. And so some people might be kind of wondering, like, well, you guys worked on multiplayer shooters and now you're making a co-op RPG. Like, are there any skills that kind of transfer over on that? And Fia, I think you were telling me a little bit about your experience kind of shifting over from the co-op experience coming over.
I've been through 2 shifts, so going from MMOs to shooters, that was a big shift for me, and then going from shooters back to RPGs, you could think was a big shift. However, a Battlefield and Battlefront as a game is a very social game. You play with your team members, your squad, and so I feel that there's actually quite a lot that translates. So being able to bring really good multiplayer gameplay across into the fantasy RPG genre, I think the world really deserves that, and I think, yeah, we're uniquely equipped to handle that.
For sure. And Dennis, one more thing. I think we're going to maybe show everyone here a trailer reel soon. But before we do, I just want to talk a little bit about the shift from working for a massive AAA developer who's got thousands of developers on their team to coming to Wayfinder Studios where we've only got 10 developers on our team. But what's the kind of like main love for you been on this?
I mean, that's what we train to do when you go to school to become a game developer, or you practice on your own, is to work on these smaller teams, smaller projects. So even though many of us have worked, I think Battlefront 2 was over 1,000 developers and like on 4 studios across the world. Like it's such a weird experience leading a team like that. And so now, like, we're the developers who are like writing all the stories, creating all the gear, building all the dungeons, and like setting up all the loot tables, and like so that's what we wanted to get back to in a way. That's the best part about making games, and this is the most fun we've had throughout our careers for sure. Just making the game, and it'd be really hard to shift away from that. I think this is a homecoming for us.
Yeah, I remember you were telling me that you just really love the craftsmanship of making games.
Yeah, for sure.
And Fia, what are one of the main big changes for you going from leading teams of hundreds to now just leading a team of 10?
Now I get to sit down on my desktop and actually just work and program and add stuff into the game directly. While you work on these huge teams that Dennis is explaining, a lot of the time goes to just communication, getting information to everyone. And so, yeah, working like this is why I got into this business at all, or this industry. And I think coming back to that, as Dennis was saying, is just, that feels really privileged and wonderful to be able to do.
Absolutely. So in Wyldheart, we've got a really small team. We've got, one animator doing all the animations in the game, 2 artists doing all of the art in the game. Can you give me like a really quick rundown of the team so like people understand the context of what 10 developers actually looks like?
Sure. Many of them are friends that we work together with on, in particular, Battlefront. So we have the 3D artists who built the planet Tatooine in Battlefront and the planet Kashyyyk in Battlefront 2, as well as the animator who's animated a lot of the Jedis that you were playing at it in that game. So this isn't the first time any of them are making games, but it is something like this is a very stylized game in comparison to maybe some of the photoreal games that we had in the past. So there's been a lot of like back to school a little bit, learning how to do it, but it's kind of how we wanted to do it.
Absolutely. Okay, so I think we are just about ready to show off our trailer. Do you have any other last kind of thoughts that you want to share before we release this to the world?
I think this is the first time that we are at PAX. Usually, we've done most of our reveals and our panels at Star Wars Celebration. And so it's been a dream of ours for the longest time to have something to show at PAX. We think that if you like RPGs and if you like kind of like in the intersection between like tabletop RPGs and video games, then this could be something for you.
All right, well, you guys want to count down with us? 3, 2, 1.
The old stories never spoke of heroes standing alone. They spoke of paths walked together, of firelight shared beneath cold stars. Check your packs and step back into places the world has tried to forget.
Tá legal o jogo. Então vamos dar uma marcando você.
Thank you.
How are you feeling right now?
Really revealed. It's so much fun to show it off finally. Yeah, thank you so much for the warm welcome.
Fia, what about you?
Just trying to take it all in. We said, like, if we could fill up one of these sections, that would be amazing. So thank you for coming here. I feel we worked really, really hard, and at times we were wondering whether it's worth it, but yeah, it feels worth it.
So Wyldheart is kind of like a action RPG version of playing D&D with your friends. And I can imagine that you have a lot of inspirations that you're excited to talk about, Dennis. Can you tell me about maybe what inspired the rustic fantasy vibe of the game?
For sure. So I really love old school RPGs, especially the ones that sort of flirt with the early versions of D&D from the 70s and the 80s. So has anyone maybe played Shadow Dark or Dragonbane or DCC? Like those RPGs have been strong inspirations for us, in particular, and we'll talk about it in a bit more later, but like in general, the West Marches style of running RPGs, that's something that's completely unexplored in video games, in my opinion. So all of those kind of old school vibes is something that really inspired us, and just in general, finding like that familiar fantasy tone, but at the same time making it feel as fresh as possible. So.
For sure. And I think like a lot of people here are like familiar with things like high fantasy and like dark fantasy, but like how would you position, what is rustic fantasy? I think you have like a reference that you often bring up.
No, I think worlds that feel really lived in, that feels grounded, where you don't start as the chosen one. This is really a from zero to hero experience. I guess if you were to place it fictionally, maybe like the world of in Lord of the Rings, like Eriador or like the town of Bree, if that was a game, then it's probably similar to ours, or like playing World of Warcraft and like the first 4 starter zones in World of Warcraft, like Elven Forest and Westfall, and like just make it that game. and so I think that it is probably good inspirations for it.
For sure. And Fia, when I was talking to you about some of your inspirations backstage, you were mentioning 2 very unexpected games as inspirations for you. Can you tell me about those?
Yeah, I think I've played Stardew Valley 7 times, and still to this day, I jump online and I know the game by heart, but I just like spending time in it and just walking around, getting to know relationships there, taking care of my farm, like just living for the day, sort of. So I think that's been a huge inspiration for me to say that if we can just build a game where I enjoy coming into the game, I didn't have a plan prior, but I'm just I love being in there, walking around. That was a big inspiration for me. And as you said, another maybe unexpected one is me and my family, we played a lot of Fortnite and other shooters together. So having something where I can just come into the game and I can play it and sort of, maybe the kids come home from school, they can come and play it, and we can have that sort of drop in, drop out thing that you can have when you play a shooter. I really wanted to bring something like that into the RPG genre where if I want to, or if one of the kids want to grind a bit on their own, they can, prepare health potions or craft things, craft gear, and kind of prepare for our group play. And then, I come online and then we'll finish a tough dungeon together or something like that. Where, yeah, it's about playing together, but everyone might have different amount of time to spend, and the game should allow for that. So, yeah, maybe a bit strange inspiration to make an RPG, but I think for me, that means something.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. The kind of intense moments in dungeons, that you kind of bring in that kind of shooter energy, and then that calm moment when you're roaming through the beautiful fields, picking flowers, crafting, gathering. That's very Stardew Valley vibes. So I definitely get that. So Dennis, one more thing is that there's so many great RPGs out there. And I think Fia touched upon this a little bit, the fact that there's not many RPGs where you can just casually drop in and drop out of. Can you tell me a little bit about how Wyldheart maybe innovates in the RPG space?
Sure. So in Wyldheart, you can play with 4 players, up to 4 players simultaneously. You can also play it completely solo if you like to. However, for each campaign that you create, we actually have up to 20 character slots. So that means you can run multiple characters if you're into alting, or you can invite up to 20 players to partake in the campaign. So that's where I was alluding to West March's style of play, where you can have different players and characters showing up to each sessions. You can play completely async. So if some of you have more time to maybe gather potions or gather ingredients for potions or prepare for the dungeon that we're running tonight, it's totally possible. You can play async that way. There's no save scumming, so the story always moves forward as whenever someone is playing, and then once you sort of turn off that campaign, it uploads to the cloud, and whoever picks it up later then continues. And another point is really that the game will consist of multiple campaigns. Each campaign is bite-sized, so we're looking at maybe 10 to 15 hours of story content for each of the campaigns, and then a bunch of side quests and sort of sandbox stuff that you can do. You can start up, you can play the campaigns in any order that you want to. You can play it with different participants, each of the campaigns. And so you can decide to create new characters for each of the campaigns, but you can also bring characters across to different campaigns. So it's very tabletop inspired in that way, and easily to drop in and out and play as much as you like, really.
For sure. I feel like that it's really refreshing because at the moment, I feel like my options are if I want to play a game like an RPG with my friends, it's like a single player game where there's kind of co-op there, but it's going to be 100 hours, and trying to get the same 4 people online to complete a 100-hour campaign is a scheduling nightmare. It's I'd rather play D&D at that point if I'm going to have to do that much scheduling. Or you're playing an MMO, which is equally as daunting because you're playing with thousands and thousands of people. So this is kind of that little middle ground where you can play with the same 4 people, maybe from your Discord server. You can swap some of those people out. And yeah, what were you going to say?
Yeah, no, I think you can view it as maybe your own private server of World of Warcraft if you want to, or a multiplayer Skyrim potentially, or multiplayer Elder Scrolls. I think position-wise, we'd put it maybe something close to that.
For sure. And I think we're going to jump into gameplay in just a couple of moments here. But Fia, I just want to quickly drop in and check in with you. You were talking, I think Dennis mentioned earlier about the Chosen One trope, and you were saying that that's something that you think makes Wyldheart feel a little bit different as well.
Yeah, in most RPGs, that you play some sort of chosen hero, and that makes sense if it's a single-player game. But when it's a multiplayer game, you can't all be heroes. And so how do we solve for that story-wise? And so the rustic fantasy approach that we have allows us to kind of turn that around. And so while in other games, there's like almost more heroes than there are peasants, in our games, you play as a peasant, and you know, if you want to be a hero, that's your journey. You go ahead and get there. And so, yeah, that feels very fresh to me because the world will react around you as just a, you know, a lowly peasant that is up and coming adventuring, and then eventually you make a name for yourself, and you deserve that name of a hero.
Yeah, I really get that. So many MMOs I've played where like, I'm the chosen one and I'm the one who saved the world, but then there's also like 300 other players in the same lobby as me who also will save the world as well. So hopefully it gets around that.
Yeah.
Cool, so I think we are about to load up some gameplay in just a moment. Do you guys have any other kind of thoughts you want to share before we jump into showing off the game?
Let's do it.
Okay.
Vamos ver. A gameplay aqui.
I think maybe we need to wait for Pax to help us out here.
Diggy.
Ao vivo é uma coisa, né?
So I guess we are going to jump into gameplay pretty straight away, I guess.
There we go, 30 seconds.
You want me to give you like an overview of what we're playing?
Yeah, absolutely.
So the core premise is really that you are a bunch of lowly peasants. You were captured in the middle of the night by a mysterious faction and thrown into a slime-infested dungeon. And those of you who manage to survive get to survive.
Okay, here we go. Okay, so we've got our three characters here, Bam Bam and Friends. I can't quite read their other names. And Dennis, can you give me a little bit of the premise of the story of why these three characters have woken up here?
Yeah, so as I was saying, you were locked in here by a mysterious faction called the House of Black, whose nefarious intentions are unknown to you, but they are forcing you to survive here. The rumor has it that they are looking for one of the relics from the fallen kingdom of Kerwin, and so they're hoping that one of you is able to retrieve that one for them.
Cool, and I'm loving all these slime aesthetics here. Fia, you have a bit of a fun story about why you guys decided to make a slime dungeon as the first dungeon. Can you tell me that?
Obviously, when we started making this game, there was a lot of prototyping involved, and we were not yet decided on what kind of theme we wanted the first dungeon to be. Because we have many dungeons and there are many themes. But so one of our kids, the oldest one, he drew kind of a green gelatinous cube thing and said, "Can you please put this in the game?" And then we said, "Yeah, of course." Then the first theme get to be slime, and I mean that's a pretty classic theme. We really like it. We can have a lot of fun with it. The piles that you see on the walls that are like, you know, the adventurers or sorry, the peasants that didn't make it. So you can loot them and, you know, get their weapons and you know, try out a lot of different weapons in this first experience to see what kind of fighting styles that you like. We have many different weapon styles, and we have both magic and physical weapons, and I think even a bow. Coming from shooters, of course, there needs to be a bow.
Yeah, of course. Dennis, can you talk to me a little bit about your kind of design philosophy behind going action RPG?
Sure. So, I think that just felt very natural to us as a studio. We wanted something that was quick pick up and play. We love action combat in general, so hopefully that will resonate. Some of the things that we were really keen about is that obviously you have online RPGs that have different roles like tanking or healing or dealing damage. That's still very possible, but some of the things that we are sort of innovating on here is that it is collision and like it's very physics-based combat. You can stand in the way of each other. You can block passages from enemies so that you can't get through. threat is calculated a little bit differently compared to maybe other MMOs, if you will. Friendly fire is a thing in our game. I don't know if it's like the Swedish this legacy of that, like Helldivers and us and all of us just need friendly fire in our co-op games, but it does create a lot of like it plays very differently because you can hurt each other if you're not careful. That means that it's less about like marking that particular target and everyone is just burning it down. Instead, in general, as you can see in combat, you tend to spread out a little bit. You tend to be a little bit careful how you engage, and these were intentional things that we were going for.
For sure. I feel, to me, like playing Wyldheart is really refreshing because I love D&D, but the one thing that I don't like is waiting 20 minutes for my turn in combat whenever, you know, all my friends are taking their turn, rolling their dice, reading their, you know, spell sheets and everything. So being able to jump into an action RPG just feels really, really fun. Fia, I think that you guys did explore a lot of other different types of combat styles in the early stages. Can you tell me about some of those early game jumps?
Yeah, we've tried many different ways early on. We've had a top-down, we have turn-based, or turn-based with real-time combat. And yeah, it didn't click until our artist John suggested maybe we try just an overview 3P camera, and then all of a sudden sort of things fell into like it started to gel really. So I think there are many games out there that have been our inspirations, that have done both top-down view, that's done more of like a turn-based combat, but going in multiplayer, this was definitely the right choice for us, and you got to really create that experience that you want out of a multiplayer game.
So in general, how attacks work is that you have normal attacks that drain your stamina. You can block enemy attacks that also drains your stamina depending on the strength of the attacks that are coming at you. You can dodge and jump, of course, and then some more nuances in terms of if you wait until the perfect time to perform your block before the enemy attacks, you will perform a parry instead that will stagger them. And you can also do a counter riposte attack by attacking immediately after you block. And so obviously those two play together quite nicely, so you can do a perfect parry and then follow up with riposte for extra damage. As you can see to the bottom right of the screen, we also have abilities that you can unlock. When you start out the game, you only have a kick. That one's useful if you're kicking an enemy that is blocking, such as this pesky skeleton with the shield. But you can also unlock additional spells or weapon abilities from your skill tree as you level up.
Can you tell me a little bit about the skill trees in this game? Because this is not your typical game where you choose a class, but this is a classless system. Can you walk me through what players can kind of expect there?
Sure. So it is a classless system. A big reason for that is because it scales. You can play it on your own. You can play it with just 2 players. You can play it up to 4 players simultaneously. And so we wanted something there that didn't lock you into a place where like someone always has to play the cleric. And so we wanted to avoid some of that enforced meta, but also in terms of allowing you to explore who your character really wanted to be. So if you want to play a healing archer that also wears chainmail armor, then it is possible to make that build. We also have a lot of non-combat skills that you can unlock, such as crafting or lockpicking or being better at holding the torch, and all kinds of different things that you expect from a dungeoneering game, if you will.
Yeah, I really love all the crafting and gathering options in this game. There's so many like brewing different types of tea and like herbalism, and it's that's the part of the game that I really love diving into. So, Fia, I think Dennis mentioned that this game is very solo friendly. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that as well?
Yeah, I think you can play everything in this game solo. It might mean that you have to go and prepare more. You need to have maybe more potions stocked up. You need to make sure that you have more torture brought with you. You need to maybe craft better armor so that you can survive more things. And so, yeah, I would expect there to be maybe some content that could be a little bit challenging to go through solo, and you might want to recruit friends for it. We're also as one of our stretch goals, working to get in like some recruitable animals and stuff like that can fight alongside you. So if you play it solo, it'd be nice to bring like a really tough dog or a wolf or something. But yeah, some of the time I have.
Traps.
Oh no! so yeah, I think the characters have just stepped on a trap there.
I'm trying to kick it.
Yeah, Bam Bam is not happy. He got hit by the trap. Sorry to cut you off, Fia. So yeah, we're adding hopefully recruitable animals to come join you as one of our Kickstarter stretch goals, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But that's very exciting, and maybe even some recruitable NPCs that can come join you as well if you're playing single player.
Yeah, definitely. And sometimes I'm enjoying playing just me and Dennis, like a duo, a lot. Sometimes I enjoy bringing the kids in and we play 4-player, and it's very chaotic. While other times I'm just in the mood to be on my own, so then I prefer playing my own. So it's just up to you. But I can stay in the same campaign and make progress in that campaign. Yeah, no matter how many players we are.
For sure. So Dennis, I think I've just noticed that one of the skeletons on this screen here has got a beard. That's a bit of an interesting design choice. Can you tell me a little bit about some of the inspirations for the original art design in Wyldheart?
Sure. So many of us love the drawings of Jon Bauer and Tapia and a few others, and it's just something that just capturing that sort of old, fairy tale, sort of somewhere between Celtic and Nordic sagas, like, and one of those things was obviously, allowing some creative freedoms around putting hair and beards on skeletons and things like that.
I know that Paul Bonner in particular was a big inspiration of yours.
Yes, we love Paul Bonner. He's one of our absolute favorites when it comes to illustrations and finding the look of the game.
And Fia, I'm really interested in the tech behind how customizable these enemies are. Remember you told me a little bit about one of our artists who's always adding fun little hats and things. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
It was important for us that you get to play as any type of body size, going from really, skinny folks to really heavy folks, or really tall to really short folks. And so it was an interesting challenge for our animator and our artists to kind of figure out a system on how we can apply that. And fortunately, they took on that challenge and created a system where any two-legged creature is sharing a skeleton. And so they can all share, all the gears that they have on them. They can share all the walk cycles, animation, combat animations, and everything like that. And so what that also kind of did for us was allow us to be super playful with what stuff we can put on what. And so I think, just all of the stuff that you can put on your character, all the monsters can wear them too. And so I think one day they just started to show up with, like, all of the zombies and skeletons started to show up with beards and hats and stuff like that, and the game just became even more fun. So I really appreciate that we took on that really tough technical challenge to deal with that and let us be this playful with our monsters.
Nice.
So
I'll go for it, Dennis.
We are fighting a slime boss here, and our game consists of a lot of different resistances and vulnerabilities. All our enemies are sort of their own unique puzzle in terms of if they resistance to piercing damage, or in this case with slime fire damage. And so boss encounters and puzzles in general will feature a lot of these types of resistance stacking or vulnerability discovery in order to solve certain things that could be very difficult if you don't have the right equipment along.
Nice. And so earlier we saw the click noise that kind of came up on screen when we stepped on that trap, and we've got a couple of other little sound effects coming on screen, like thwomp, when someone kicks open a door instead of lockpicking it. Can you tell me a little bit about the noise mechanics in this game?
Yes, we do have a full noise mechanic. So we detect every action that you do. If you're jumping, you do more noise. If you have like more heavier armor, then it will likely make more noise too. And so that plays a part. Those call-outs in particular is just homage to early Baldur's Gate 1 and 2. When with those call-outs, we think it's important that UI can also make noise.
Thea, you had some inspirations as well that you brought in. I think you mentioned some point-and-click adventure games.
I don't know how many of you can relate, but I really love point and click. Yeah. I think a lot of us have that as our guilty pleasures, and we like go offline on Steam or something to show it. I don't know. But yeah, no, we wanted to bring in like all of those mechanics where you can just look at stuff and examine them and get more stuff. So a lot of our story is told in lore that you can look at posters, you can read books, you can get. If you're paying attention to the world, you get a lot more information about it. And so yeah, it does definitely play like a little bit of a point-and-click mystery game.
Yeah, so exploration is definitely rewarded in this game. Now, Dennis, we've finally exited the dungeon, and we've come out into the big, beautiful world, and we are setting up camp. Can you run me very quickly through what the camp screen is all about?
Yeah, so camping is quite important. It is the place where we save the campaign so that if you quit at that point and you boot it up later, you will begin at your latest campfire. So a bit of a bonfire mechanic to it, but there's also quite a bit of cooking, and especially our eat menu is shared, so that if one of you creates a meal, then someone else can actually eat from it, or steal the dish entirely. But you can also repair your gear, craft new concoctions that you can use to increase your stats. They're kind of like our potions. And research your magical staffs and wands, and of course perform emotes and play music and what have you.
Yeah, it's a really nice opportunity to bring the players together and get a little bit of role-playing in before you kind of get back onto your adventure. So, Dennis, we're now on the world map. Can you tell me a little bit about this?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, many of us are fans of old school RPG gaming, and so nothing says old school RPG as much as a hex crawl to us. And so this is our very dedicated overworld map, which is also a hex map. Every single hex in this campaign you can zoom in and explore it. We're sort of just walking past a lot of them here, but you can zoom in whenever you want. Each campaign consists of approximately 250 hexes that you can visit. Not all of them are like super mission critical to the campaign, but they're all worth a visit. Sometimes it's just a merchant, sometimes it's an enemy encounter, and sometimes it can be a dungeon or a lair. And so it's really just a love letter to hex crawl RPGs that many of us grew up loving and love to this day, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think we are about to arrive at the town of Wyldheart, which is going to be our safe haven from the monster-filled mists that are rolling in from the Fey realm. Oh wow, Captain Thorn has decided to join our party, it seems. He's walking alongside us here. Can you tell me a little bit about the town?
Yes, for sure. So that is, all of our campaigns will have at least one of these sort of main hubs. This is the main hub of the first campaign called Wyldheart. It consists of many NPCs that all have their own schedules. They react to time of day, they react to bad weather. We also have a weather system in our game that impacts how easy it is to find campsites and travel around in the world, and NPCs react to that. As well. It's the place to go in order to regain your stats after being on the road for long. It is also the place where you visit merchants, get new gear, sell off all the stuff that you found in the dungeon, and of course discover rumors from books and notes, or maybe sometimes listening to a song or overhearing a conversation by someone.
Yeah, I think the quest system is really interesting because you guys use a journal instead of like a quest log, and it kind of gives you a little bit of writing that kind of summarizes information you've learned, but you still have to work it out yourself to figure out, where to go and what to do. Yeah,
we don't really work with quest markers. You can do any of the quests almost in any order, and so it should be fairly easy to find the rumors, but then it can be sometimes you have to talk to multiple NPCs to learn more about a particular rumor, maybe talk to like the forest tracker in order to find your way to the dungeon, whereas if you talk to maybe the historian, you might get some ideas on the vulnerabilities of the enemies there, for example. So there's a bit of discovery that goes on for many of the larger adventures, and sometimes some of the side quests are quite simplistic, and so you don't have to do as much digging. But
mais vídeos da PAX.
yeah, that's our approach. We like investigative sort of quest discovery. It shouldn't be too hard, hopefully, but some of them can be quite hard to figure out.
Nice. And Fia, how many residents are living in this town?
Wyldheart has about 50 residents, plus rats. I think, yeah, if you see at the middle of the town, there's a big temple. And so I don't know if you saw it when we walked up that kind of hill in the beginning of town, there was like an ark. And so that ark is like a dormant ark, and some folks in this town, they remember the olden ways and they remember what it was for. So yeah, when you come to Wyldheart, be sure to talk to folks, learn the history of town, learn the ons and goings of town, and some folks talk about a threat, and your job is kind of figure out, yeah, more about this threat. How can you prevent the town from being engulfed in this threat? And so there's like layers of history here of you know, getting to know the right people, yeah, learn the right things in order to make a difference of the town.
For sure. We want to kind of like tease the story, but like not like spoil where it's going yet, because we really want you guys to discover it for yourselves once it comes out.
But it's worth just celebrating that everything, all the 3D modeling in our game has been made by only 2 3D artists. Every single moving thing in the game has been animated by a single animator. And Fia and I have done a lot of the story and quest design and all of that. Everything is handcrafted. We use some procedural tools for placing trees and stuff, but there's no AI involved in this. So this is just us sort of stepping away from the massive budgets of pace of AAA and doing something that feels a lot more personal and grounded. And so just wanted to call that out and thank all of you for showing up and checking it out alongside us.
It's amazing!
Well, thank you so much, you guys. This game is a huge labor of love, and I'm so happy that we finally get to share it with the world today. Any last kind of thoughts or comments before we send you off stage?
We patched today. No, I'm kidding. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, no, I can't wait for you to come online and play this game with us. And so, yeah, please pay attention to our website and for news and get involved when you can. Being a small team, trying to survive on our own, trying to build something real on our own. We're gonna need every single fan that we can have to support us.
All right, well, thank you very much, Dennis and Fia, for joining me on stage. I'm going to let you guys go backstage and have a little rest. And there's still one more very special thing that we are going to be doing. So a huge round of applause for Dennis and Fia, everybody. So there's one more thing that we haven't shown you guys yet, which is a very important part of all RPGs, is the character creator. So, thank you. So what we've done is we've invited 4 very special guests on stage today, and they're going to help us try out the character creator for the very first time. So they're going to be playing the game live here on stage at PAX. And what we're going to be doing is we're actually going to get all of you guys involved as well. So when they are done making their 4 characters, the lovely team at PAX are going to screenshot these characters and put them on the PAX Instagram page. And whichever one of these 4 characters gets shared the most by the end of the PAX weekend, Dennis and Fia have agreed that we are going to put that character into the game as a permanent NPC that you guys will get to meet. So they might make something really goofy or they might make something really heartfelt. We will decide. I would like to, first of all, invite the lovely Cypher of Tyr on stage. Hi, Tanya. Thank you so much for joining us. Can you tell the lovely people at PAX a little bit about who you are?
I forgot I was wearing a mic. Hi, my name's Tanya Seifert here. I'm a video game developer, also tabletop developer, longtime content creator on Twitch, and a big nerd for RPGs. In fact, some of my tattoos are Dragon Age themed. So I am many years old when it comes to the D&D and tabletop, so I'm sitting backstage. I'm super excited for what I've seen of Wyldheart, and now maybe I can actually get my friends to show up and play a game with me.
That's what we like to hear. Cool. Well, I'll let you grab an Xbox controller and you can start going your way through Character Creator. And now we're going to invite our next guest on stage, Brizzy Voices.
Hello. Whatever.
Hi, Brizzy. Yeah, grab a seat wherever you like. Yeah, there's perfect. Cool. So, Brizzy, can you tell us a little bit about you and what you do?
Hi, I'm Brizzy. Real name Anna Brisbane. Brizzy's good. I'm on the internet as Brizzy Voices, doing lots of voice impressions and such, streaming on Twitch, and I'm a voice actor in video games like Guilty Gear Strive, Bayonetta 3, God of War Ragnarok, fun stuff.
I'm a huge Guilty Gear fan, so it's really cool to meet you.
And I'm part of Cast Party, the D&D podcast.
I love that. I love that. Well, feel free to pick up a controller and start playing through the Character Creator. Next up, we are going to invite the very lovely Anna Prosser.
Sorry.
Hi, Anna. Can you tell everyone a little bit about what you do?
Sure. Hi, I'm Anna Prosser. You may know me as Evelyn in Acquisitions Incorporated. I play a lot of TTRPGs. I currently stream my own game with a few friends called Stone's Throw RPG on Twitch. I was previously the lead producer for Twitch Studios and have kind of been around in the space doing esports hosting, quite a lot of other stuff, and now mostly acting and producing weird, cool nerd stuff.
Amazing. Thank you so much for joining us on stage today.
Thank you.
Cool. So feel free to grab a controller and jump right in. And then finally, last but not least, we are inviting MXM Tune on stage.
Hi. We'll go this way. All right.
Hi.
Hi.
Do you want to tell the crowd a little bit about who you are?
I would love to, because I know my name is a little bit confusing and maybe new. I'm MXM Tune. I'm a musician. I'm someone whose gamer tag accidentally turned into a career. But I stream on Twitch, other things that I've done in the past that maybe you would be familiar with. I was Alex Chen's singing voice in Life is Strange True Colors. I worked as I'm a side character in Dave the Diver. A lot of people didn't know I was a real person. And I did some music for Lego Horizon Zero Dawn. So I'm excited to be here. Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Cool. All right, well, if you can jump into game as well. I think we will have a split screen up on the stage behind us so we can see everyone playing around in the Character Creator right now. Here we go. Cool. So, Tanya, can you tell me a little bit about the character that you're making right now?
So I'm trying to not so subtly recreate the character I played in Rivals of Waterdeep for 5 years.
Nice.
I was a paladin, then Broken Oath paladin / blood hunter. And the fact that the default is a brown woman is kudos for me.
Excellent. I'm so pleased you like that.
Yes. Now, hopefully, I can find hair that I like.
I see where you're rocking the Princess Leia buns right now.
For now.
And Brizzy, what about you? What kind of character are you making?
So I'm making my character Lenore from Cast Party, who is based on Lenore by Edgar Allan Poe. I think it'd be fun for this game to have a character based on a character based on a character. So this version of her is a school teacher who has had a recent drowning experience. Believes she was murdered for her money, and then everyone in town thinks she hit her head, fell in the river, survived, and is confused.
I love that. I'm loving the backstory so much. And what about you, Anna? I see that you're currently customizing one of our Grimhorns.
Yeah, so my thought was that I wanted to make a version of Evelyn from Acquisitions Incorporated, but at one point before we got nerfed, she had like 22 strength. And I feel like a lot of times people see her as like this tiny little thing, so I was like, what if I make just the most giant buff version of her? And this was the most giant buff body I could find. So we're trying to make Buffy Valin.
Oh my gosh, I love that so much.
I love when I laugh at my own joke and no one else does.
There's definitely some laughs back there.
I don't know what some of these, like, what's a scullion?
Oh, yeah. So you're looking through the backgrounds menu right now. So when you first start the game, you get to choose your background. And scullion, I believe, is like someone who kind of, not quite a chef. You're kind of like in the kitchens, but you're kind of low down. All of the backgrounds are meant to be very like peasant-like. So it's like none of these are kind of like, you know, you come from glory. Like if you're a noble, you're like an exiled noble kind of thing.
Cool.
So, yeah, and so there's options like being a like drunk or a butcher or a rat catcher or a gong farmer. Does anyone here know what a gong farmer is? We got one shouting back there. Google it later, you'll find out.
Gong farmer? Wait, you collected the right soil from latrines, the night soil from latrines.
Yeah.
Gross.
And what about you, Maya? Who are you making right now?
Oh, just a really old woman. I'm always obsessed with hag characters. I think that they are so compelling to me. I played Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, and I was really obsessed with the old lady that takes you in, and I wanted to make someone who would just be like that, but completely inhospitable and absolutely awful to deal with. So this is Gail Osipov. In my mind, she kind of sounds like this when you meet her. So I just wanted to make a really decrepit old woman that is a baker and is really bad at it. She's widowed by her husband that passed away, and she, disgruntled, took up the helm and decided to, you know, do it. But every loaf that she bakes is completely burned. She does not care. So, yeah.
I love that so much. Sorry, can you give me a demo of the voice that she's going to do one more time?
Oh, Gail Osipov, you can come on in, get some bread, honey. Don't worry. I got it. I got you.
Amazing. Brizzy, what about you? Do you think you've got a voice in mind for your character?
Well, her voice in Cast Party is kind of like you, but much smaller. She's just a little fairy. But she used to be human, and this is a human.
So when she was human, she was more just some girl from New York. But now she thinks she's dead, or maybe she is dead. That's the mystery.
So she's a little ghostly. Yeah.
Nice, I love that. What about you, Anna? What kind of voice do you think your character might have here?
Oh, she just talks like Evelyn.
Give us a little demo of what Evelyn sounds like for those.
That was it. I don't really have a draw.
What about you, Tanya? What are you thinking for your character?
My character would sound like Celeste, and so when I played her, I just had a much lower register, more mature, more kind of, I'm on the cusp of violence kind of voice.
I love that. Very threatening. Very, very, very nice. Cool. So right now, our game doesn't have any voice acting in it because we're a very small team and it's difficult to add all those things in. But we are actually launching a Kickstarter. It's currently live. And one of our stretch goals is to add voice acting in for some key NPCs. So we're really hoping that we can hit those goals and get some more voices into the game. We're also hoping to add a narrator as well. So when you're playing the game, you can kind of just sit back and chill and like treat it like an audiobook. And that way, you know, when you're playing with your friends, you don't worry about someone just like reading really fast and getting to the end before you. Also, something we didn't get an opportunity to show in the gameplay segment earlier is that when you are playing multiplayer story content with people, there's a lot of kind of gates within the gameplay. So you can pause and everyone has to vote on which kind of option they're going to pick to go forward. So that gives you opportunities for, first of all, discussing like how should we treat this NPC? Are we going to be nice to them? Are we going to be mean to them? But also as well, if there's like maybe a dramatic reveal coming on the next page, everyone has to choose like next before you go to the dramatic reveal. So you don't have the situations where someone is going, oh my gosh, I can't believe that happened. And you're like, wait, I'm like 3 pages behind. So it gives you a chance for everyone to kind of get all up together there. Cool. All right. So are any of you guys getting close to finishing up your character?
I think I'm done.
Yeah?
Same.
Okay, so give us the full pitch of your character now that she's all finished.
Well, she believes she was murdered. Maybe she was. Maybe she's alive. Maybe she's a ghost. You don't know. And she refuses to return to teaching until her murder is solved.
Excellent. And do you have a name in mind for her?
Lenore.
Lenore! Cool. Thank you so much, Brizzy. Really appreciate that. And that is such a cool character concept. What about you? Are you just about finished as well?
Yeah, I'm going to stop messing with the hair.
Nice. Cool. All right. And give us one more rundown of your character before we finish up.
So this character, even though she's a warrior here, Celeste was a paladin who was out on the path for revenge. She was of vengeance, trying to find the guy who murdered her wife in front of her. And so, you know, if we're a peasant, we got snatched, I'm just going to go find who snatched me.
Excellent. Great. Cool. And what about you, Anna? Are you just about finished now as well?
I think so.
Cool. All right. So one more time for anyone who maybe tuned in late, a little recap of your character idea here.
This is who Evelyn would be if she was the most badass, large, buff version of herself. So this is Buffy Valin for Evelyn.
Excellent, excellent. And finally, Maya, can you run us through your character one last time before we finish up for the day?
Yeah, absolutely. This is Gail Osipov, and she's the baker, but not by choice. And she only turns over very burnt loaves for adventurers that are going down in the dungeons. And I could say it's probably the most demoralizing food that you could possibly eat on an excursion like that. So there's Gail. Yeah.
I forgot about the background. I'm a rat catcher, but I don't kill them. I just keep them as friends.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that. Well, actually, one of our stretch goals in our Kickstarter is to have little animal companions that can join you and follow you around. So that could be.
I'll need like 50.
Excellent, excellent. We'll work on that.
Thank you.
Cool. Well, everyone, please give a huge round of applause to our 4 special guests who joined us on stage today. These lovely people are just going to head backstage, and we are going to wrap up for today. So, Wyldheart. Oops. Thank you very much, you guys. So Wyldheart is coming out in early access later this year. We don't have a full date locked in yet, so please keep an eye on our socials at Wyldheart Game on most social networks, except on Blue Sky, where we're at wyldheartgame.com. And we're hoping to release on consoles by the end of next year as well. So we don't want to be in early access forever. We do have a very strong vision for what this game is, and we want to make sure that we get it out into your hands as soon as we can. And also, as I mentioned before, we have just launched our Kickstarter. So if you would like to help support our Kickstarter, you can just find that on our website. And also, if you just Google Wyldheart Kickstarter, you'll find it right away. It's currently the cheapest way that you can get the game. If you'd like to
Next in 19, PlayStation DA enorme viso de cambios on PS Store Wyrajo close.
So thank you everyone so much for tuning in today. It's been an absolute pleasure having all of you here. Please have a wonderful day at PAX, and we'll hope to see you soon in the Fallen Kingdom of Kerwin.
PlayStation Pause, play, button.
Muito bem.
Video.
Esse foi o vídeo da vez. Eu gostei muito do jogo. Vou procurar mais informações dele, porque ninguém falou desse jogo. E vamos ver no que dá, né? Vamos ficando por aqui. E eu espero saber dele mais em breve. Valeu, galera. Abraços. Até o próximo vídeo daqui a pouquinho, às 7 da noite.
Iniciar janela. Facebook. Número OBS Studio 2. OB. Transis. Interrompe.